Hello, I am David Emerson Richardson, and I am gathered here with my one live audience member and my second audience member who is on the phone but very much paying attention. Laura Painter is the live member, and that is Elizabeth Richardson on FaceTime, very much live. So now we will begin. My name is David Emerson Richardson Jr., and for my topic of policy change, I will be talking about the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986. Now, members of the audience, you may be wondering, what is the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986? Well, according to Brooke Entlekofer of thecongressproject.com, the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986 highly penalized violations of the Controlled Substances Act. This act was heavily put into motion by then-President Ronald Reagan, and this was the head of Ronald Reagan's war on drugs in America. And while a war on drugs sounds like a good cause, it featured some very questionable policies. One of these policies being a 100-to-1 sentencing ratio of powdered cocaine to crack cocaine. Now, again, as members of the audience and regular people, you may be wondering, what is the difference of crack cocaine and powdered cocaine? Well, according to the Oxford Treatment Center, crack cocaine is a more easily accessible version, which is crystallized and is a less pure form of cocaine, while powdered cocaine is, like its name says, is a powdered form of cocaine, which is a more pure and takes effect instantly. And with this disparity of quality and price, crack became the American middle and lower classes' drug of choice on black markets across America, according to attorney Deborah C. England. Now back to this 100-to-1 sentencing ratio. This means that if you were caught with 5 grams of crack, this would be the same as being caught as with 500 grams of powdered cocaine. This in itself is insanely classist, as being discussed, crack is the more accessible and affordable option to America's middle and lower classes, while powdered cocaine, also known simply as coke, is only really accessible to the rich and wealthy classes across America. This is not only classist, but this is racist, as African Americans are charged more with crack offenses than Caucasians, according to Alyssa L. Beaver at Fordham Law Review. With the First Step Act in 2018, it seems that this unfair and unjust policy gathered a lot of attention over the years, as the 100-to-1 sentencing ratio was reduced to 18-to-1. Yes, this is a big step forward and is a significant decrease from 100-to-1 to 18-to-1. That's very good. But still, it should be 1-to-1 sentencing ratio, as the middle class should not receive harsher treatment for drug usage than America's rich and wealthy classes. I would like to direct this speech towards my agent of change, who are the people around the upcoming President Donald Trump, specifically Elon Musk. For the members of the audience who may not be aware, Elon Musk is the CEO of SpaceX, The Boring Company, Neuralink Corp, Tesla Motors, and X, which is formerly known as Twitter. His companies have made countless advancements in space technology and just engineering in general. And if you have paid attention to the mainstream media or any news in the past 6 months, you have obviously seen Elon Musk is a huge supporter of the upcoming president, Donald Trump, and has been to many of his rallies wearing a dark cap, which he's very proud about. And because of his support, he has since been guaranteed a spot to be the head of a new government facility called the Department of Government Efficiency. And you might think I am targeting this speech towards Elon Musk simply because of his power and influence over the rich and wealthy in America. While that is partly the case, it is not fully the case, as I believe Elon Musk can relate to recreational drug usage, as a podcast has arisen in the past many years. The Joe Rogan podcast is a very significant one, and a very big Elon Musk moment is him smoking marijuana with Joe Rogan. And that's not really the main thing I want to talk about. It's a very easily accessible clip you can search up, and would just like to throw that out there. But according to Emily Glazer and Kirsten Grind of the Wall Street Journal, Elon Musk has engaged in powdered cocaine, also known as coke, like we discussed earlier, marijuana, ecstasy, ketamine, and psychedelic mushrooms. When this article first came out earlier this year, Elon Musk, came under a lot of fire and speculation, and is still under a lot of fire and speculation till this day. This affects his business partnerships and his reputation. I believe, with the knowledge of this unfair and unjust sentencing ratio on the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986, he can influence Donald Trump to implement change for a 1-to-1 sentencing ratio. Now, I would like to get on to the questions from my audience members, starting with my mom, also known as Laura Painter. I will be flipping the camera over now.
Okay, my question is, so you're asking him to have the new president change the policy to a 1-to-1, so everything's equal, so there's not so much of a higher penalty on the lower class versus the upper class. That's the gist of what you're asking him to do.
Is that it?
Yes.
To answer my audience member's question, yes, that is the gist of what I'm trying to get Elon Musk to do here. I'm just trying to get him to realize that he can relate to recreational drug usage, and although he cannot relate to middle and lower class Americans, he can relate to the negative perceptions of recreational drug usage around America and how it affects reputations and relationships, whether it be just friendships or business oriented. Now, I will be asking my second audience member, Elizabeth Richardson, her question. I will be flipping the camera over.
Would you consider Ronald Reagan's policy a form of systematic discrimination?
To answer my audience member's question, yes, I do believe Ronald Reagan's policy of the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986 to be a form of systematic oppression towards a group of minorities. And I believe he did this simply for a number of reasons and myths that were installed upon him in his youth, and with certain hatred inside of his heart, honestly. But yes, Ronald Reagan did instill a systematically oppressed policy. These are the 2 questions from my audience members. I will now point the camera back over towards them. This is Elizabeth Richardson, my sister. This is my mom, Laura Painter. I am David Richardson. My topic for policy change, again, is the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986 and reducing the sentencing ratio from 18-1 to 1-1. Thank you so much for listening, and good night.